Happy Hour Hustle ain't your typical podcast. It's happy hour with dogs, badass women, F-bombs, iced red wine, ADHD detours, questionable choices, and a whole lot of fun. The topics are random, the guests are awesome, and it's always a good time. Hosted by Kim Bodie, creator of Big Deal Energy and founder of 834, a communications and learning company, 19 years young. Get uncomfortable with us. It's where life is interesting.
Hey there, hustlers. Today we have a guest who is very appropriate for this show, Happy Hour Hustle. He is the founder and master blender at Olde Raleigh Distillery in Zebulon, North Carolina. His name is Brandon McCraney. We're so excited to have him on today. You know, he started his distillery, he started his business in one of, the best times during the pandemic. But in all honesty, he's an Air Force veteran. Probably a lot of that determination that got him through those really few first tough years. He was named one of the best micro distilleries in the U.S. We are just so excited to have him on today and to talk to him about what it was like building his business, what it's like now running his business, and one of the hardest things, which is training people and managing the people in his life. So his message to other business owners and much more in this episode. Here's Brandon. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today on Happy Hour Hustle.
All right, thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
And our first question is very appropriate given the subject matter today. But what is your drink of choice?
Well, if you can see behind me here, my drink of choice tends to be bourbon because I'm a whiskey blender by trade. If it's in the mornings, I'm gonna go with a double espresso on ice.
Okay, love it. Now, are you like a purist when it comes to it? Like no on the rocks? Do you do on the rocks? How do you like your whiskey?
Yeah, I generally like it neat because my role in the company is sampling barrels from all over the world. So I want to get the true essence of what the whiskey is right out of the barrel.
Okay.
It's a little higher proof too.
A little high, doesn't water it down at all. No, that's awesome. Well, really appreciate you being on today. First, let's just start talking a little bit about your business. It's launched 2021 is when you officially opened. That's a fun time to start a business. I'd love to hear a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, that was fun times during COVID when we opened. But backtrack a little bit. It was about 4 years to the opening, from the time I started the venture to the time I finally had the courage to take the leap and quit my corporate career to finally closing on a business loan, and then COVID delays happened. And then county construction delays happened, and then we ran out of money, and then I had to wipe out my 401k to get open the third week of January 2021. So I had colleagues when I was opening just talking about the good times before COVID. I had no reference point. It was, okay, you wear your masks, you got your 6 foot distance, and we're trying to figure out how to pay the heating bill for February. So there was no 5-year plan at that point. It was every day was a grind. Let's figure out how to make payroll. All right, we made payroll. Is there any money left over to pay the heating bill? And we just clawed our way out of that. And we've been open, well, that's been 5.5 years now.
Gosh, well, congratulations getting through that. We heard a lot of stories like it, people having to bootstrap it during that time. I do kind of want to, speaking of going back, when did that moment for you become, this is a dream, this is a thought, to, no, we're going to do this. We have a plan. We're opening it. What, do you remember that moment? What was it that brought that?
Yeah, so that happened the week after Christmas of 2019. And what led to that moment was I was climbing the corporate ladder, and I was chasing a title, essentially. So I finally attained that interim national VP title I thought that I always wanted on an interim basis. A month into it, I realized I was chasing a title, and that's not really what I loved. And then the greatest thing that ever happened to me was it was a failure. Actually, I didn't get the role. Somebody way more qualified got that role over me, an outside hire. I think he was 15 years my senior, a perfect fit in that industry. And this thing called whiskey and bourbon had been growing on the side, something I was passionate about, but it never occurred to me to take the plunge and start a company. But that snowball got larger and larger and larger, and I felt as though I'd built enough business acumen helping scale that division that I'd been a part of, to where maybe I want to take the leap and run a company myself. And luckily, I was having a bottle of wine with my wife on the week after Christmas, and told her I think I want to start a whiskey company, and she didn't tell me that that was the craziest idea in the world, even though we had all of our, healthcare, 401k, great salary. I got three kids as well, but
Mhm.
she was very supportive and gave me the green light to go start exploring.
Yeah. Have to have your partner on board on those that
Sure.
that kind of venture.
Yeah, couldn't do it without her.
And I do want to talk a little bit about that. It's a family business, right? What has that been? What have been some of the challenges with that, but also what has that given to you in running your business?
So when you're family owned and operated, it's heavy because sometimes you can bring business home into the business home, and sometimes you don't want to mix that. So I've had to learn, especially if I've had a tough day, you leave it at the door because our kids don't care, right? They want their best representation of me. But also with that comes peace of mind too. I don't answer to anyone. I don't have private equity or investors that are expecting me to be in 10 states in 2 years and liquid and water down a product that I don't want to put my name behind. So I own all that. And that's what I wanted to do. I saved up 16 years to be able to chase this dream. And so we're doing it our way. But with that comes some setbacks, meaning we'd always wish we'd like a little more cash, right, to grow. So we're
Right.
literally bootstrapped to get open, clawing our way out every week, but it's working for us so far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And entrepreneurship, starting your own thing, it's always a really terrifying venture at first. You really have to believe in yourself and that bootstrapping piece. What has it been like kind of, coming from the corporate side of things, learning the ropes of doing it all on your own and no one's helping you? What has that experience been like for you?
It's it's been one of the most fulfilling processes I've ever had. It's also been the most difficult one I've ever had because when you venture out on your own, there's no one there to help you out. So if you don't get up and grind every day, the needle isn't going to move. So if you're not a self-starter and you're persistent and you're okay with failing day after day after day, but continuing to charge forward, you got to do that if you're going to be successful. In particular during COVID. I mean, there were 100 reasons for me to stop and just go back to doing the corporate thing. It was insane. My family thought I was insane what I was doing. But yeah, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn about what your weaknesses are. You learn about what your strengths are because they get exposed immediately, all that stuff. So, in growing the business, you got to identify what those are and then try to hire people when you can to help fill those gaps to help you grow. Because I think you go from taking on all the roles and because you can't afford to pay anyone. But if you're going to grow a business, you can't continue to do everything. So that's where I found a lot of entrepreneurs get into a sticking point. It's that if you want to grow, you got to let go. You got to delegate to people. You got to grow people and let them grow within your company and behind your business. So I'm still in the process of doing that as we're out there. Nobody's perfect, but I've got a great team around me now that supports our vision and we've created a really good culture that I'm proud of and I get to share with the world and just trying to one day at a time, like I tell our team, one day at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we like to talk about the fact people are definitely the hardest part of a business, but it's also you can't do a business without people. It's people centric. What has been something that you think you learned in that process of hiring, firing, getting it right, getting it wrong, and just trying to build that culture along the way
Mhm.
when you are at the center of it?
Yeah, I think first is the culture. Are they a cultural fit? We've had some folks that didn't work out. It's because they didn't have the cultural fit. I mean, my key values are respect. So respect the business, respect one another, respect what we've built collectively together. Integrity. So if I'm going to grow, I got to be able to trust you, and you got to be able to trust that I'm doing the right things by you, right? And then teamwork, collaboration. So I've done everything from mopping the floors to swapping out toilets. I've done it all, and so I'll work behind the bar if I need to work behind the bar. But expectation is if although this isn't your responsibility, we're a team here, and sometimes if one of your teammates needs some support, you're going to help them pick up the slack so that we can continue to move forward. And it's all about customer service, right? So if your standard is customer service excellence, well, that doesn't mean it only applies in the production space. It only applies to me in the tasting room. Is customer service is customer service. So we're going to help each other out.
Absolutely. And, there's a lot of, as we talked about, some of the setbacks and things, but you had a really big win a couple of years ago as well that I want to talk about, winning Best Micro Distillery.
Yeah.
What was that like for you? And did things change after that? Did it help with the, what was that like?
It was a very humbling honor. And to be candid with you, we didn't even know this was something we could win. It was my motivation for, we took some products, I submitted them to an international whiskey competition, not to win any medals or awards. It was just Brandon wants a report card as a blender. How am I doing against the other blenders of the world, in particular in Scotland? And so I just wanted a report card. To my surprise, we had a product called Old Stogie. It's a bourbon designed to complement a cigar. That product swept every category it could have been in. We won this crazy title of Best Micro Distillery in the United States. And the other humorous part about it behind the scenes was that the product that we submitted, well, we had released it to the public and it sold out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So when we won the honor, we had all these publications reaching out saying, hey, send us a bottle. We'll showcase you in this magazine. And I went, I don't have any bottles. And
You're like, we're out.
yeah, I had a lady call me up. She said, who in the hell submits a product to an international competition with nothing to sell? And well, apparently I'm that guy. Sorry about that. She's like, wow, dude, you next time save a couple cases so you can maximize that exposure that for what you'd received. So yeah, but it kind of put us on a map from an international perspective, and we just continue to build upon that. So we don't replicate any batch that we create within our brand. So that gives me free form as an artist to just create and find unique profiles of whiskey, release them to the world, and in the next release, we start again from scratch.
Yeah. So for people unfamiliar, what does a master blender do? Kind of walk us through that process.
Sure. So a master blender, my role within the company is that I identify barrels of whiskey or casks of whiskey from all over the world. And what I'm trying to do is build a bouquet of flowers with whiskey. So
I like that.
when we bring all that whiskey to our barrel area, we actually call it the pantry. Because we call it the pantry, I view all these barrels kind of like spices in a spice rack. So I'm back there picking out individual spices or barrels, and we're trying to build out that bouquet of flowers. So some whiskey might have a nice, what I say, a mouth feel, so it coats the tongue really nice and oily, but it may not have a lot of character. So you're trying to package different barrels together to give you a more full-bodied whiskey. Some of those barrels might have a longer finish that talks to you for 20 or 30 seconds, and some of them might just give you the punch up front. So what I'm trying to do is layer all these different types of whiskey to give you more of a full out bouquet of flowers and then bottle that.
Oh, I love it. And apparently you're very good at what you do. So
Thank you. I feel very blessed.
yes. So before you were in corporate world, and before you opened your own thing, you were a veteran, or you were, you are a veteran currently. How has that experience serving played into opening your business now?
Yeah, it definitely played a role in it. A couple things, takeaways I had was, saying when I was in at the time was it flexibility is the key to air power, which sounds, that's, oh, you're such an Air Force guy. But I've learned I got to be flexible when applying it to the business. We've got hit with so many different curveballs. I found I'm pretty adaptable and flexible. I'm not really, there's certain things that are non-negotiable. But beyond that, it's, sometimes you get thrown curveballs or you get new information that the market's giving you, the customer's giving you, and you need to pivot a little bit. So that's been helpful. Two, I've had the opportunity to work on some very senior leaders, 3-star general staff, and just see how very successful leaders that are over tons of people, how they present themselves, how they treat the people that they are in charge of, but also how they make decisions. And so those have been very helpful for me as in starting the business and creating a culture, but also as we're scaling and growing. That's been invaluable to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What are some other things that you've learned through your entrepreneurial journey that you maybe, when you started out, you realized, gosh, I really need this skill, that now you've been able to feel that you've at least mastered or kind of learned? Like, what are some of the things that you never expected to need to know starting your own business?
goodness. Well, one, how hard it was going to be. It's tougher than what I could have envisioned. And granted, worst timing in history during COVID is when I wanted to. That didn't help.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say there's that planning. I mean, if I only, let me just say communication. All right, I just had a
There you go.
meeting
Yeah.
with our staff, and I'm running around. We're growing. I'm speaking at festivals. I'm doing all these things. And sometimes I can get so caught up in the hamster wheel that I'm forgetting to have clear, succinct communication with our staff. And
Mm-hmm.
so why that matters is, well, they've bought into the vision, but if I'm not clear with them in terms of what their expectations are in terms of their role,
Right.
then it puts them in a position where uh, they don't know if they're fulfilling, if I'm happy with what they're doing.
Yeah.
And so we really had a heart to heart over the past week. I'm giving you something, just opening up the box here. But it was me just not clearly articulating, what expectations are. Because we're, as entrepreneurs, is not 9 to 5. Is you think 24/7. I don't have a lot of other hobbies because I love this business and I love to blend whiskey. I'm
Right.
always, it never stops. In the middle of the night, I'm thinking about something. But I'd say I have 99, 100 conversations a day, and one might be on the outside world. 99's in my head, right?
Yep.
So I have to take a moment to make sure weekly that we're sitting down, we're having conversations, we're talking about bigger picture things with the company, and I'm letting them know, all right, this is your area, focus is here. I'm dealing with all these things, but I want you to be aware of it because if you're aware of it, it might cause you to make some different decisions that might impact other things, what we're doing here, which also makes you more valuable to the business and then also might lend itself to growth opportunities as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of the tying every, like they might buy into the vision, but understanding their piece in it or why every action they take or inaction they take ties back to that as a hard thing to learn to do well, especially when it's so personal or like it's all, yeah, trying to get that outside of your head. I definitely understand that.
Yeah, it pays to be transparent and just sometimes be vulnerable a little bit. That word is taboo, I think, in particular sometimes with males. But I've just learned here's who I am. Here's what's going on, guys. I'm not, and sometimes I can't tell them everything because it might scare the hell out of them. Some of the things that's going on,
Some things they don't want
but
to know.
but I'm trying. I'm a work in progress, just like the business. But every week I try to be a little bit better and help the business grow and help our people grow.
Yeah, absolutely. What's one thing that you wish someone had told you before you got into it now, or that you would tell someone that's looking to jump into entrepreneurship right now?
I'd say two things. One, if you're scared to take the leap, but perhaps before you get in that, get informed and maybe do your research on it. But also, if it's an industry that you're interested in, go spend some hours there. Maybe even volunteer your time there, because the amount of money you're going to save on the backside of that is going to be invaluable. You're going to wind up paying consultants or whatever, depending on what the needs are. But just spend some time in there. And from a value prop position, if you're hesitant to do that, well, just think about that. You approach an owner and you say, "Look, I'm interested in getting into this space. I don't know anything about it. Can I come here and work a few hours a week? I'll do whatever you want. But in exchange, do you think if I've got some questions along the way, you might be able to help me out? Just to answer a few things." I don't know a scenario where a business owner would say no if you're really truly volunteering your time. So
Right.
I'd say that. And then two, find a tribe, find a tribe of people that are entrepreneurs as well to where you can just vomit when you need to and talk. I call it the struggle. But with that, you're going to pick up on lessons learned from other businesses, what they did to be successful, and how you can apply that to what it is that you're looking to do. So
Yeah.
I didn't do that until the second year that we were open. And I
Mhm.
wish that I had done that a year or two sooner because it's more than paid for itself. I've got some great friends now in that group, and they inspire me every month. Their successes, their successes are not quite my wins, but I knew that I played a role in the journey in helping them get there. And I'm
Yeah.
just so proud when you hear about a bit of success or seeing someone grow. It's nothing better than that.
Right. And just going through the shared experience of it, right, is so important. And same kinds of losses, same kinds of wins, that sort of thing. And really feeling, I know one of the things I hear a lot from the business owners we work with is, God, is it lonely? So
Yeah, it's very
building that,
lonely.
but yeah, right. Building that, it's lonely at the top. They say that, but it really is, especially when it is personal like that. So no, I appreciate that. And then I guess the only other question I really have would be, you're in year 5, right? Or past year 5, depending on
Past year 5, yeah.
Past year 5, moving on. So what does the next 5 look like as you approach that decade point?
Yeah, so we're going to continue to expand. And also within the spirits industry right now, we're in what's called a market correction. You hear all these doom and gloom about people aren't drinking as much, all this stuff. The reality is we were on this crazy surge during COVID because everybody was trapped at home, drinking away their sorrows, celebrating their victories. And
Oh, I remember it well.
so that trend at that percentage, it just could not increase. So we're in a little bit of a market correction. We're using that as an opportunity to say, okay, it's a great opportunity for us to procure unique and very old whiskey. So how can we double down and enhance the quality of the product that we have? So me, from a strategic point of view, I'm looking to make bigger picture moves to set us up for years to come with some very high caliber whiskey. Beyond that would be just continuing to expand our team, grow into different states. I mean, that's the value in any spirits brand is case volume sales in stores. So just continuing to be able to have the runway of cash to hire more sales directors and expand into new states. That's definitely on the radar and where we hope to be in 5 years, hopefully near double-digit states.
Awesome. Well, Brandon, thank you so much for coming to Happy Hour Hustle. I really appreciate it. We'll have all the links, all the things, how you can get connected in the caption of this. But yeah, I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Maddie. Have a great one.
You too.